Okay, well folks, we got to get a lot of things taken care of here. It's like having the 7 o'clock news. Right off the bat, somebody couldn't understand why I would have my chinks, my rope, and my spurs on the first ride. Well, that's because you got to understand that if you get that taken care of on the first ride, then they're good for the rest of their life. What I've watched is somebody put 5 rides on a Colt and then show up on a Thursday with their chinks on and get bucked off because they scared the horse to death when their right leg came over. That's why everything gets done at first. It's no different. I know after watching the video you're going to talk about the drone and oh my God, well, it's no different than semis going by him because I'm heading for the Carolinas next month and he's going with me. So the drone and noise and all that stuff, that's just part of living nowadays. Prairie days are over.
Seems like some people don't put a back cinch on the first ride either.
Yeah, that's another one. This goes on the first time I saddle a colt. And you see me pack him, so you know I've already done that with a pack saddle. But it's important to me that when I put the rope on and the first time I saddle him, I don't have it tied off here where I typically do. So it'll flop around when he runs around the corral. I don't want no surprises. And I think that's betrayal if you sneak around and bring it out next Tuesday. Hell with it. Just get it done and over with. He don't care. So anyway, this is how he spends all his time when I don't have time to ride him and I have a chance to catch him. This is what he gets to do. And he can stand here just fine for 3 hours. And you can call the child services or whatever you want to do, but he's just fine. And what he learns is he learns that this is where you're off. When you get hobbled, you're off. You just stand there and relax. And that's what'll make a horse out of him instead of a colt. So that's the story on that. I want to thank you for the cards and letters. And since they quit having Dear Abby, I presume I'm the guy that's taken over. And all these stupid jokes I say are for people that remember Dear Abby. Okay. The video when I rode him last that you saw, this was a really big deal for me with this horse because of the way that I want to make a horse. And I've told you before, for me, when I look at a horse, I'm looking at a ranch horse. That's all I see. Doesn't matter the breed or where it came from or nothing. That's where I look at it. If he can be a ranch horse, and he can do anything. So what happened to me is when I went up that hill on a slight incline, I was thinking about the proper leads and transitioning into a lead. And what really happened was he trotted like 35 miles an hour. I did not expect that at all. But I could tell you I could sit it. It was that smooth. And the point of my story is that when he trotted up that road, he was in an absolute straight line when he finally got lined out. What I can feel is pushing off the hindquarter, and that's what I need. And then when I got done, I'm coming home, I could feel him tracking up. I want the hind leg to pass the print of the front foot. Wherever that front foot lands, I want that hind foot to go past that. That's what makes a horse. And I could feel him reaching, going home. So the moral of my story is, and I know there's disclaimers all over the United States and it's all geographical because I've already been there. But I get outside and get going across country because if I were to stay in an arena and lope circles, after about the third trip around the arena, the horse says, okay, now what? Now you keep loping them, and you keep loping them, or whatever you're doing, and then they kind of get tired of it. Whereas outside they can be looking for country, and that's what he was doing. So I understand that people have to ride in the barns in the winter, and there's all the reasons in the world. I just talked to my friend in South Carolina, and they can't even get from the house to the barn without picking up 5 pounds of mud on each boot. So I get that. I'm just telling you what I do. I choose this zip code. So the weather has to do a lot to do with riding these colts. And I'm fortunate enough to where I live, I don't have to worry about that. And speaking of weather, Texas, we feel bad for you and we hope you get lined out down there because that was a Mother Nature sucker punch. And good luck to all of you. And something I want to tell you about riding outside is that up north on the northern range in the wintertime, right about now, some people to start calving and then you got to work on scours. And for those of you that haven't been up there, I want to tell you what really happens is you go to the feed ground and it's frozen. That's a good thing. You don't want mud. All right. The bad news is that a horse that's pretty darn slick. But the thing that nobody ever thinks about is that when cows stand around in the morning, they're waiting on the feed wagon. So they stand there, and there's a lot of manure. And what you get is a genuine cow pie. I mean, just like in the cartoons. Well, what happens is that cow pie freezes. Now you've got like a cobblestone highway to go down to try to trot or rock or whatever you're doing to doctor calves. That's what makes it so dangerous on the feed ground, because you hit those, and anybody that's ever fed with a team knows you beat yourself to death. The reason I'm telling you all this is because people want me to tell them what I've done and where I've been. Well, the word been is the key to this sentence, but anyway, you go out on a frozen feed ground and try to get something done horseback, I'll guarantee you it's scary. That's how people get hurt. More cowboys get hurt with horses falling than they do bucking. And more cowboys get hurt in the corral than I've ever seen get hurt outside. Whenever I got bucked off outside, by the time I hit the ground, my horse, I didn't know where he was. I didn't know what day it was. But anyway, so on that note of the weather, the other option is what they call Arizona. And Arizona in Spanish means snowbird. And the word Wickenburg is Indian for team ropers. So that'll give you kind of a clue where to winter out. But the last little trivia about the manure is that's why when the people came across in the wagon trains, they didn't have any timber out on the flats on the prairie. There was no wood. So they picked up buffalo chips, and that's what they burned in their fires, and it burned just fine. It's kind of like peat in Ireland. So, believe it or not, there's no such thing as buffalo wings, but there are in fact buffalo chips. So, there you go. Now, to finish up on the old Spanish Trail, that was in the 1840s when it was over, and you got to understand it was actually a trail. It was never a road. And because of the war of the United States against Mexico, roads got opened up all the way to the border through Texas because of the cavalry and all the government going down there with all their wagons. The Mormons were the first ones to bring a wagon train west, and they used part of the old Spanish Trail. But by the time the 40s were going on, and then when the 50s hit and the gold rush, the old Spanish Trail was dropped. It was over. Because now there was roads cut all the way across the west. So that's what I learned on the old Spanish Trail book. Now, Michael needs to know about slobber straps, and I think what he's getting at is what are they for, or necessary, or whatever you want to say. To me, slobber straps, I've seen some of them. If you go to one of these, what do they call them, dress-up contests, ranch roping or something, you'll see basket stamped rhinestones. Well, cowboys take old latigos and cut them into slobber straps. Now, the reason for a slobber strap, it's about that long, it hangs at an angle, and then your macate goes up. The weight of the slobber strap is the pre-signal, which is exactly the same as the chains on a bridle horse. And everybody says, well, that's so they can slobber and it goes down the straps. Well, that's all wonderful, but I don't think that's the way it came about. But what I'm telling you is, partner, Michael, is it's a pre-signal. That's what it's for. And if you tie a macate directly to the snaffle, you'll mess up a good macate. So, now, I need Everett up in Alpine, Utah. We talked last fall, and of course, me with my Alzheimer's, I didn't get his number down, and I can't get a hold of him. So if anybody knows him in Alpine, Utah, he wants to have a roping clinic, tell him to give me a call, will you? I'll be coming up through there. We'll be going up, I think, in August. And the last thing is that there's some folks in Arizona that they're selling out their pack outfit. And they've got the panniers, the sawbucks, everything that you need to outfit 9 head. So you outfitters and you serious packers, if you're looking to outfit a string, get a hold of us and we'll hook you up with them. So, excuse me, my bride has something to add.
There was the people who make the nice Colts up in...
Oh, that's right. Eagle Point, Oregon. DeWalt. And if you want a nice Colt, you get a hold of them. And I don't know their phone number, but
I'll put it on the screen.
Deb's going to put it on the screen. And they are very particular about the Colts they have for sale. So I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm making a Colt. And if you want to join the party, that'd be a good time to do it. So there you go. Thanks a lot. Keep them cards and letters coming. I'd love to hear from him. Don't forget to tell me where you live. Goodbye. Cut! Achoo! Hang on every word. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You with me?
I am.
Now don't fight me on this thing.